Hi, welcome back to Mountain Gym Card Collectibles. So, there's some big news that is leaking out about supposed rigged boxes for breakers. And I don't know how many times we have, heard this, but this is really a fairly big breaking story to an extent. Now, as a consumer for sports cards, especially in today's market, how do you feel? Do you feel like you're just a joke to an extent because all the best of the best has been designated to go to breakers over consumers? I do. And I've been saying that on this show for quite a while. But the news that's breaking out of the UK is really quite eye-opening, to say the least. Now, Rattle Pokemon did a video. I mean, he practically deserves a Pulitzer Prize for his video on this. I'm happy to see him reporting on Topps Fanatics over just Pokemon. Because let's face it, if you want to report on scumbags, you're going to find a lot more scumbags in the breaking realm with Topps and Fanatics than you will with Pokemon. Yeah, there is no shortage of scumbags in the realm of Pokemon. But I just feel like, to a higher degree, the level of scumbags within the realm of sports cards, sports card breaking, sports card corporations is just really atrocious. You know what I mean? And so I'm so happy to see him reporting on this stuff. And I recommend watching his video on this. And I really like his headline because, he focuses on the cease and desist letter that was mailed to a big UK breaker. And the headline down there says it. Why don't they just prove it was random? I mean, it makes sense, I mean, is random a dirty word at Topps Fanatics at this point? Because that's the way that I grew up buying sports cards, is it's in random packs. But in this day and age, things are much different. We live under the classification of sports card consumers. It's, are you a grade A consumer, a grade B consumer, a grade C consumer, grade D? You know what I mean, Those grade A consumers, those are the big breaking companies that, Topps Fanatics likes to work with to market their product. Yeah, market their big lottery tickets. It's such a joke. So I recommend watching Rattle Pokemon's video. He gets a lot more viewers than I have. He has a big following. And he does a great job on a lot of stories. Anyway. So this comes from Grok AI. This is a great Grok AI overview. And let's just go ahead and read it. Luke Curtis of the Hobby Box UK, which is a breaking company, by the way, alleges a Fanatics employee kept the prized Ronaldo card, Cristiano Ronaldo, card in his hotel room and directed the loaded box to a specific UK breaker. Okay. And Rattle Pokemon has this Luke Curtis, I believe, talking about this issue. So check it out. He also accuses another Fanatics manager of selling Topps cards on personal eBay with odd serial numbers, promising more proof soon. Okay. So we haven't really gotten to that much, but Fanatics respond with a cease and desist letter to Curtis on December 16th, demanding he halt contact amid claims of harassment. Hobbyists question trust and breaks, recalling past suspicions of improbable pulls in the card collecting world. Yeah, I mean, we have been watching that over and over since Topps and Fanatics has, taken over the sports card hobby. But I still want to point fingers here. Who's the bigger scumbag? Is it the sports leagues for teaming up with Topps Fanatics, or is it just Topps Fanatics, I tend to think the scumbag, grading should be about equal. So, Sports Card News, they have great story on this, with a lot of replies, but Let's go ahead and read the cease and desist letter here. This comes from Cards and Kilos. It says, Fanatics sending out letter because people are calling out their BS, all right? All right, so here it is. Fairly recent. And I think it's funny that, Tops and Fanatics, maybe they're getting touchy about this. So they're basically saying more or less that this is all BS. That's the way I read the letter from Tops Fanatics. Which, to be fair, maybe this is possibly BS, Maybe this is a breaker who's angry at Tops Fanatics, and so they've gone down this road, of harassment and making up stories. So I have to be fair, to highlight both sides here before I read this letter. Okay. Improper and harassing communication. Dear Mr. Curtis, I'm surprised, they wouldn't put his first name, Just Dear Mr. Curtis, okay. Please be advised I serve as Director of Litigation for Fanatics Collectibles, which owns and operates Tops. In that capacity, I've recently been informed of your improper conduct and communication. Indeed, for several months, you have repeatedly sent harassing communications to our team, and you have made false and disparaging comments online. In recent weeks, you have escalated this harassment, using profane and offensive language to further defame our business and our employees. Your misconduct will not be tolerated. That's pretty harsh. Accordingly, you are hereby instructed to immediately and permanently cease all communication with our employees, officers, or directors. You are further instructed to cease and desist from all false, defamatory, harassing, or offensive communications regarding our business or our employees. To be clear, regardless of the method of communication, you are hereby instructed not to communicate with or about our people. Any further attempts to do so will be reviewed in light of applicable criminal and civil laws, including but not limited to the Protection from Harassment Act. We reserve all rights to take action to protect our employees and our business from defamation and harassment. Please govern yourself accordingly. If you or your counsel have any questions regarding the above, you may direct them to me. Sincerely, Jason Scheiderer. Title, Senior Vice President, Director of Litigation. So, I wouldn't be happy getting a letter like that. I mean, who would? Like I said, when you read this letter, basically Fanatics is saying that all of this is BS, this is harassment. These are false, defamatory allegations. And to be fair, maybe it is. These are breakers. I've never been a breaker, and I will never be a breaker. I will never own a breaking company in my lifetime. I'm not that type of person, So that's the tug of war. That's what Fanatics is saying for the most part. And then we have, the allegations of, Luke Curtis of the Hobby Box UK. So it's like I said, it's a battle here. So let's read what Sports Card News says, and let's get into some of the replies, and let's just see how people are feeling about this, okay? So this came from December 16th. It's a few days ago. Explosive drama. The Hobby Box UK alleges that Fanatics employees have been rigging boxes, breaks, and deliberately funneling high-value cards to specific large dealers. The most jaw-dropping claim. That Fanatics employee told not one, but two breakers at the London card show that he knew exactly who would pull a one-of-one Cristiano Ronaldo autographed card because the card was literally sitting in his hotel room. According to the Hobby Box UK, he spent money to acquire video footage from the London card show that allegedly captures this conversation on camera. At the London show, the one-of-one Ronaldo box did indeed end up in the specific breaker's hands. Even more damning, the breaker who pulled the Ronaldo card allegedly later confirmed to people that yes, the Fanatics employee gave him the box containing the one-of-one. Instead of addressing these allegations, Fanatics has threatened legal action against the Hobby Box UK. Discussion of loaded or rigged boxes is nothing new. I mean, it happens every day. I mean, people are always talking about loaded and rigged boxes every day. But why is this such a big deal? That really makes you scratch your head, doesn't it? And you have to ask yourself, is there something more here than just surface level nonsense, From backyards breaks connection to top Panini cards to a large Fanatics breaker recently pulling 6 MLB debut 1-of-1 patches, astronomically improbable, the pattern is becoming impossible to ignore. On Instagram, the Hobbybox UK has 21,000 followers and has sold over 276,000 items on Whatnot. He says, this is just the beginning. More receipts are coming, okay? So we're going to have to look at those receipts, So let's dig into the comments. This is a crazy story. What is the benefit of rigging the boxes? Well, I don't even have to hit the replies for that. We all know the benefit of rigging boxes for breakers. Not the least bit surprised. And honestly, when I read this story, I'll admit it, I wasn't surprised either. And, maybe I should be. Maybe my jaw should drop to the floor and been like, OMG, I can't believe this is happening. The sky is falling. No, I just kind of People have been talking about load and rigged boxes for ages. Well, not ages, but, ever since Topps Fanatics rolled on into this hobby and took it over. Sadly, this could be 100% true, and Fanatics themselves could come out and confirm it, and all the middle-aged dorks in this hobby would justify it as not a big deal. Okay, well, I'm middle-aged, okay? I'm not sure who he's talking about. I'm guessing Jeff Wilson, because he's kind of like the guy with the big name that always justifies, big corporations doing what they do, So I'm not even going to touch that. Everything Fanatics has done to the hobby is based on making more money, diluting product, and promoting breakers. None of this is a surprise, and I hope they have the receipts. And that's just it, and that's the way I reacted to it, and I think that's the way most people are reacting to this. I mean, it's not as big of a jaw-dropping moment as it should be. There's been a lot of suspicion here. Now, could this be the big crack that's going to leak everything out from Topps Fanatics? I just don't know. This is just one breaking company, and how far this goes, I'm not sure. Maybe this could be a big civil suit, and maybe stuff does come out of that civil suit, and maybe the sports leagues decide to maybe not stick with Topps and Fanatics. I don't know. But I just, all these breaking news stories constantly happening in this realm of sports cards, it gets exhausting, doesn't it? I mean, it's just, this is like X-Files on steroids, I mean, if you want to get into aliens and, Martians and this and that, that is X-Files, but I'm telling you, there is just so much chicanery in sports cards. It is, you just wake up to a new scandal every day, it seems like. It's not card collecting anymore. It's Ruben laundering money, and has been that way since Fanatics stole our hobby and turned it into a private cash cow for a select few. It really has. I mean, it's the country club of consumerism in sports cards now, isn't it? I mean, it really does feel like that. At Fanatics Collect. So how does Fanatics know that they don't have employees doing that? It's a scam that has ruined the hobby, which was built on regular people. Now, there is a lot of pushback here, obviously, from Fanatics. Michael Rubin, everyone in the company involved, I'm not sure why there's so much pushback on this. You know what I mean? Because we've heard a lot of these kind of stories in the past. Is it because he is a breaker that's tied in with Tops Fanatics, or was maybe formerly tied in with Tops Fanatics? I just don't know. If true, this shatters trust completely. Does it? I mean, people are so addicted to these products. I mean, I just don't know if it really does, And that's always a danger with sports cards is, addiction will always control what they do. This is why I left the hobby. Well, you're still reading about the hobby. So have you truly left the hobby? If you truly left the hobby, this comment wouldn't even be there. I believe our lawmakers might need to get involved in our hobby business. It ain't going to police itself. We might need regulation to protect us hobbyists. I have been saying that for a long time. I don't know why they're not getting involved, but you can look at the healthcare industry. There is no laws or regulations in the healthcare industry. That's why you see, these big insurance companies, playing God for people. Do they want to, allow this procedure to go through for that claim or this and that? I'm putting that out there. I look at our healthcare industry like it's a big scam, and it's been pushed on us by our government because they favor, the big corporations over the consumers. I'm constantly seeing that, and I see it in sports cards as well. Hell yeah, this shit ain't like it used to be. This has become big money. This makes and breaks people, and something needs to be done about all the dirt balls and bad actors. And I don't know if anything's ever going to change in the hobby, So many of these issues pop up, and then they're just always swept under the rug, and people move on with their lives, and they just keep doing what they're doing, It's the Fanatics way. Before long, they'll own the grading companies and put Beckett back in charge of creating prices again. I think that's pretty hopeful there. The PSA monopoly is just as disastrous or more disastrous than the Tops Fanatics monopoly. Considering Fanatics owns Tops, this means they've been rigging the game and ripping off every single person who has ever bought a pack since acquisition. Class action lawsuit now. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are hopeful, that that's going to happen. Now, if they do get into a class action lawsuit, I'm just not sure what that's going to do. Really, what you're trying to do here is you're trying to get the sports leagues to pull their licensing with Tops Fanatics. And I'm not sure what that's going to take. Because we know how greedy and selfish the sports leagues are too. I mean, MLB, NBA, NFL, they all are tied in with Tops Fanatics because they like the cash. They like the money. We have to support their lifestyles as well as Michael Rubin's, And that's the big problem here. But eventually, one of these sports leagues or a few of them might go, you know what, this is really just a bad look for sports cards for our fans. And they may just go, we're going to pull the plug on Tops Fanatics and move on. That's what a lot of people are hoping for. That's what I'm hoping for, But here's the thing about the story is there still isn't any hard proof here. They're saying that there's a video of this conversation, but the thing is how courts of law are. It takes a lot more than just hearsay. You have to have proof of that this actually took place. Now, like I said earlier, this is a fight between a breaker and Tops Fanatics. And it's ugly, to say the least. And you kind of have to put yourself in that position of, is this the full truth? And honestly, I just don't know. And I don't believe anyone can come out and say that they truly do. Add FTC. And that's just it. The Federal Trade Commission needs to get involved with these monopolies. They need to get involved in this hobby, but they're just not doing it. Sports card collectibles need to be regulated in the same way as gambling. Ripping packs of cards is no different than the lottery. There are people at risk anywhere from a couple $100s up to millions of dollars. These are deceptive and unfair practices. Now, what would make sports cards unlike a lottery? Well, they'd have to go back to the old way of doing things, like they used to do things in the 70s, 80s, 90s. when you have a bunch of desperate people, like living in the United States, always trying to chase the golden ticket, that's going to, make their lives better. It turns the hobby into something that I just don't believe it was ever meant to be. It turns it into like the big, lottery ticket game. Watched a small-time breaker and whatnot last night rip Topps Chrome Breaker's Delight. Bought 2 cases off a guy that needed money for product and said they were intended for Fanatics Live and said they were probably juiced. Sure enough, 4 flag autos. I'd have to dig into that, but if that's true, that is just really a bad look, And if that's the way that things are happening, Topps Fanatics shouldn't even be putting stuff out, in retail, LCSs. They should just let the breakers deal with it. If that's their favored group, that they're going to always give the big hits, then don't shill any stuff out to consumers at all. Just do your trickle down ideology of breakers get everything and they can let it trickle down to the poor consumer. This isn't new information. As far back as 2022, there was evidence that the personal connections between Backyard Breaks and Panini was compromised the integrity of the business. Topps and Panini have a vested interest in ensuring that all hits are tracked. Yeah, and that's just it. And that's always been one of my big shticks with redemption cards, If they were truly devoted to being a true sports card company, there would be 0 redemption cards and all the hot cards would be going out. No need for redemptions. That's the way I see it. And I've been saying that for years and years and years and years about redemptions. I just don't believe in them. Why? Because the corporation can game the system. Can't have that much money involved and not have corruption without safeguards. Yeah, and that's just it. We really need safeguards in this hobby. As long as it's unregulated, it's going to be just like our medical industry. And we know how they play games. You have hospitals, that go after people because they need all this cash, I tend to believe in socialized medicine for that fact. It's I've seen too many people go broke because they don't have insurance. They end up in the hospital and they lose everything. At FBI, do something useful for the people. Well, the issue with this is, what could the FBI do? This is in the UK. They don't have any jurisdiction in the UK. Just putting that out there. They got a threatening letter from Topps from a post I seen with a letter from Topps' attorney. If they're willing to jeopardize their business with these explosive accusations, then one has to think, why would they lie? Hope they show their proof. That's just it, too. I mean, you have to be fair to Topps Fanatics and say it's possible that this could be a lie. This is a business deal, between them and a breaker. But that's just it, is why would they go through all this, ruin their breaking business if they didn't have anything? If XYZ fast food sells bad burgers, there's regulations, laws, fines. Collectible coins are marginally regulated. Ask Google if sports cards are regulated. Answer, it's the wild, wild west. Good luck. Yeah, and that's just it, is there's so much room for corruption in this hobby. And we can keep going down here, for comments, and you're going to see this word pop up. Corruption, corruption, corruption. Hold on a second. I used to work at a movie theater, and at the end of the night, they would let us take big bags of popcorn home, with the leftovers. I would take bags of popcorn home just like that. In fact, that's why I quit eating popcorn. Every time a celebrity opens a hit, it's fake, yeah. And that's just it about the whole Topps Fanatics thing. It's just so many people feel like it's rigged. Now, maybe this is an opportunity for Topps Fanatics to come out and say, and prove it's not rigged. But I guess they're just going to keep sending out, these cease and desist letters, and you see Michael Rubin, looking mad and angry, you know. So either way, I mean, how do you feel about this issue? Do you think that this is an opportunity for Topps Fanatics to come out and say that they're not corrupt at all, you know, that this is simply, you know, former breaker, employee, whatever, tied to their company, you know, harassing them to no end, you know, it's unfair for them? Or do you feel like this breaker, you know, out of the UK, you know, really has something legitimate going on here? We're going to need more proof. That's just it. And it's only fair that we are given more proof, you know, as we go down this road. Now, like I said earlier, is this the thing that could break Topps Fanatics? I just don't know. I mean, they have such powerful control of this monopoly that's been given to them. I just don't know, but I still feel like, you know, where there's smoke, there's fire. Anyway, I'd like to thank my subscribers. You're the reason I always keep doing these episodes. I would like to thank my recent subscribers. Thank you for subscribing. I've been getting more subscribers lately, even though I have a small subscription base. You are really helping out my channel. And if you're a viewer and you have not subscribed, please subscribe. It's 100% free. Just click the button, and I can continue to improve the channel and do more episodes. Anyway, I hope you have a great day. I'm out of here. Bye.